Freemasonry is like fucking sick. And I just gotta say again, I'm sick of like I mean, you see like a bunch of people shouldn't be Freemasons these days, like fucking people work at unemployment office, I don't know, what do you call it, pharmacy, bus drivers, man, like these motherfuckers, man, they will. Freemasons really fucked up and let these dickheads into
I consider it to be a cancer, and actually what their god would be then, the god I think they're looking for is Lucifer. Money for money for me, none for you. So it's just like the seething power of, Lucifer,
And like a lot of y'all might be saying like, oh, you guys are a bunch of like idiots. I mean, like Freemasons, they're just like a little club. TKRA. Would you want to explain to the audience about like Albert Pike and like Giuseppe Mazzini's letter about the three wars?
Well, that was the British Museum letter. They say that it was removed. There's a lot of this stuff, if you go look for it, it's really public stuff. But I think they were just talking about the 1860 period when the U.S. had the Civil War, and Mazzini was using his brown shirt terrorist Mafia to sort of, I don't know, amalgamate power in Italy. I really think it's just sort of been this whole huge, horrible, cancerous club, and it's all about gaining money. I don't know, it's just cancerous. For certain, I think there probably will be maybe a war in the United States, but George Washington talked about that. That was his prophecy. But it's like building the way I look at it is like building a house. You say, I'm going to live for maybe 80 years or something, and you'll say, well, we'll buy the land, then you'll buy the small house, and then build a bigger house. Then this is when you put the pool in. So to say that a country can say that we'll have a war in 200 years, or the planet, the planners can say, well, there'll be a war at some point, I think that's pretty easy for them to make. It's as simple as planning out, when you're going to build the guest house for your house, right?
Let me read for the audience this particular, because we both already read this, but they haven't. Make it easier for them. I'm going to read directly from the letter concerning these three world wars, which were predicted like hundreds of years before. I'm going to read to
or
think
plan,
about plan. Like what do you call it? See if it sounds like what has already occurred. The First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the czars in Russia and of making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. The divergence. Let me just say something real quick. The word communism wasn't used in like everyday language back then. So like, that just to give you, if I'm using a word that wasn't known or even existed, they give a little fucking hint right there. The divergences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the British and Germanic empires will be used to format this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy other governments and in order to weaken the religions. So when they say communism, like me personally, I could just consider that Jewish Bolshevikism, because we haven't really seen real socialism, which is it's not a bad thing. Okay, so now what is that? That sounds like the First World War. Now let's go to the Second World War. The Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This war must be brought so that Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine. During the Second World War, international communism must be strong enough in order to balance Christendom, which will then be restrained and held in check until the time we need for the final social cataclysm. That's another thing. How did they know about the word Nazis? Okay. That was like, unless they planned it, okay? There's a little clues, okay? I mean, and now this is like history for all of us right now in the year 2011. Let's look at the third and final World War. The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantages of differences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilists, and the atheists. We shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm with all its horror, which will clearly show to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and one of the most bloody turmoil. Then everywhere the citizens, obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries, will exterminate the destroyers of civilization and the multitude, disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out into the public view. This manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement, which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. Senor, but as of, I'll say this, TKRA, I consider you a conspiracy genius. You're like the most knowledgeable person I know I know that knows about conspiracy research. Everything you've heard, you already heard this shit. Would you consider everything within this letter, which I've already read parts of it, I'll give you like links to the whole thing. Would you consider this true?
Yes, it's sort of like a fine, a fine example of mental illness. I really think that we have to get beyond the whole con job of the Illuminati. It's like the Illuminati, actually, there's a reference in the Rosicrucian manual. So they do state that the Rosicrucians are the Illuminati. Yes. And then they kind of run, there's sort of like a steering committee to some extent of Freemasonry. And then so Freemasonry sort of involves Satanism, which is all kind of a reactionary movement to the simple kind of idea of the globalists or the traditional religions that are just sort of trying to manage the world. So there's kind of like a reactionary movement that's full of Masons and atheists and Gnostics and all of these people that say, I want to do whatever I want, whenever I want. No one ever has any right to tell me what to do. I think these people have been behaving as a massive cancer, and they are so stoned on drugs that they believe that Lucifer will give them the power to take over the world. And really all that they've done is they've made a huge, horrendous mess, and every drug dealer has been recruited into Freemasonry because I think there is nothing but doom coming for that organization. The worst possible people have now been recruited because I really think that it's a death sentence.
I hope every Freemason, gets what they deserve. I mean, if they just get, let me tell you what I mean. You may say, hey, I didn't, kill that guy like my lodge brother did. Yeah, but you helped cover up the fact. I mean, you're accessory to all the other crimes of all your brothers.
Okay, this stuff worked, but it worked in the past. This is now this whole digital age. And so all of that stuff that they inherited, it's like these guys in the Freemasons, they inherited from their daddy and their granddaddy and the other granddaddy, this whole thing that, okay, we've got this crime cult and we know how to lie and we know how to do favors. Therefore, we're just going to rake it in. And then if somebody gets mad, we're just going to spook them up and shake them up and ruin them. And then we're going to get away with it. But this is now, everything is digital. Everything has gone transparent. Even royalty can't get away with stuff. It's like they've got Prince Andrew, for crying out loud. He had a picture, Prince Andrew, with a 17-year-old massage woman or something. And basically everybody's blowing up at him for saying, hey, you shouldn't have had a picture with this 17-year-old. That wasn't a sexual-based thing, anything. It just a photo. And so he's not getting away with stuff. Nobody's really getting away with stuff. And everything is electronic. So there's just a massive amount of information. We're going to a paradigm that's going to be more transparent, where everything about you is known. Your whole history is known, all about you, all in real time. And I think that people that have been involved in all of these evil cults and all of this stuff, I'm going to get rich there, boy. We're going to screw him real good. The devil's my buddy there. And there's all these guys are just, I really think that they're going into the abyss of hell. And that's why they're so scared, is because they know that these the feds scare me, actually, the real top level feds, because they just been sitting back there. They do nothing except just take notes. They just take, and where is this going? Okay, the population's over tripled, and we know the Obama. I call him the Obama. He just flat out says, yeah, we got the second big wave of the crisis coming. I kind of think that there's a reckoning coming, and part of the reckoning is because you can't just pump out oil and then just simply make iPhone people that drink water out of plastic pop bottles. It's a demented culture, and it's the religion has turned into. You see, I was taking catechism class because I became a Catholic, and I was going to this class, and we were learning real history there. And everybody going the other direction, because I had to walk by the stadium, they were going to see Child Boy. This Bieber kid. And then the other days there was hockey games. So I had been walking there just to take a religious class. And then all the people are just, they're all worshiping the golden calf or whatever you want to call it. They're just into idol worship, hedonism. So, all the teeny bopper girls were going to see Child Boy. And I can understand that, but I couldn't understand the men holding hands. That's weird. So,
yeah, you're.
They wanted to see Child Boy. So
let me. People might not understood your humorous remarks. He's talking about like that Bieber kid that everyone fucking hates.
Child Boy.
Yeah. Hey, like, man, I gotta tell you, TKRA, man, like, the Freemasons who hear this shit, they're really gonna be fucking pissed, but like, too fucking bad. I mean, like, they're fucking stupid, dude. I mean, like, they think, like, oh, we'll fuck with people and, like, then they'll be quiet. Nah, let me tell you, like, you just create a generation of, like, real fucking hard asses, okay, man? Like, TKRA, man, you don't give a shit. Like, anything they do to you, you'd be like, fuck y'all. I'll talk even more shit about Freemasonry, right?
Well, I didn't really go out of my way to do stuff, but, like, personally, live or die, I don't have to put on that stupid apron. I just thank the Lord for that. As far as these guys go, I don't think they're headed in any direction that's any good. Certainly, they have caused me enormous grief, as much as they could. People will always say, "Well, why didn't they kill you?" Well, they do now. Actually, I think want to, from what I hear. But to a large extent, I've just had a lot of activity piled on me. I think actually, like, I just do a small podcast. I don't really even promote it. And that's like listened to by some of the Freemasons, and it just goes to committee. So something's reported in, I think, to the 33rd degree. In specific, I think the Royal Arch side of Freemasonry might be more salvageable, but there's something to do, I think, from the impression I get from the feds that sort of give me hints. They have ways of giving you hints and stuff. They seem to really hate Scottish Rite. So whatever that means is, like, Scottish Rite is kind of like the place not to be if you're in Freemasonry.
I'll tell you the truth, man. Like, a lot of people will be hearing this and be like, oh, he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Let me tell you, like, unfortunately, I gave a little warning. Like, TKRA knows what I'm talking about. Once you start studying the conspiracy theory, like, even now, like in the old days, I actually had to go out to like this, the secret places to get the, underground information, I mean the special people, but like, and that's like, but these days you can go like on web pages and like spend a few months and like learn shitloads. That took me